Hi everyone, meteorologist Ed Valley here, taking a quick look at South America, and I'm using these videos as kind of a supplement to what we send out in the mornings. And the key here definitely is what has fallen over the last really couple weeks across Argentina here, and how this pattern's progressing. And you notice it's dry there today. This is the current satellite imagery this morning. And up north in Brazil, you can see it's a much different world. You get up into the tropics, and it's a lot more convection, daily thunderstorms, and you're seeing that in Mato Grosso here today once again. So let's start here, looking at last 30 days of precip ending yesterday. A couple things that stand out to me. We know that it's been pretty dry in parts of southern Brazil. What do we know about southern Brazil? Well, we know that the driest areas have been in Rio Grande do Sul. That's about 20% of the first crop corn in Brazil for production. For the rest of the region, though, you notice it has been a little drier than normal in Mato Grosso do Sul. Paraná has locally been dry, but these areas, from my discussions with folks, it seems like things are doing fine in a lot of Brazil, except for far south. Now, Argentina. Eastern Argentina, up until this weekend, had been quite dry. But you notice the last 30 days, this goes until yesterday, a lot of that dryness has been erased, thanks to what happened this weekend. A lot of Argentina doing fine right now. Let's look closer at the last 15 days, because I think this is very, very important, because it's a very interesting just look in general. And I want to show you that here right now. So here it is. This is the last 15 days. There's the huge rain in Argentina. We'll talk about that in a minute. But notice how southern Brazil is still dry, right? Here's the totals that fell during that time. You notice here 100 millimeters in some cases, like a lot of rain fell in Argentina here. But notice how dry it's been in southern Brazil. So that's really where my focus is right now. And the way I approach this, and I assume a lot of folks approach it this way, is especially in the near term, 7 days-ish or closer. If you can get rain within a 7-day period from your last rain, most of the time you're going to do pretty well. You're going to be fine. So my job here moving forward is to say, okay, it's been about 7 days since southern Brazil has seen a rain. Are we going to see one? The answer is yes. We'll talk about that. Argentina just saw a good rain this weekend. Are they going to have another one in the next 7 to 10 days, or is it going to continue to be dry? And then obviously central Brazil, you're doing just fine. So let's roll through this, and I want to start with our ag report. I think this is a good primer for what we talk about, obviously. So the next 7 days, look at how much of the precipitation's up in Brazil. Rio Grande do Sul is here. Paraná is here. All of Argentina is down south. No heat next 7 days. Now, the precip this weekend was legitimately impressive. Not so much Saturday, but look at Sunday. Like I showed in the other map. A lot of rainfall. 10 to 75 millimeters, locally over 100 fell. It's a lot of rain. And it's what they needed. And there was some additional overnight in northern areas of Argentina up into central Brazil. But again, if you notice the last few days, so we'll go back Friday to Saturday, largely dry southern Brazil. Saturday, Sunday, largely dry. Sunday, Monday, largely dry. You see that? So moving forward, it's important that they get some good rain, because the last 7 days, as you can see here, Rio Grande do Sul, Paraná, under a half an inch in a lot of spots. So we need that rain coming up to keep things where they're at, or improve even, right? So moving forward, you see that rain here today in parts of northern Argentina. That'll move into Rio Grande do Sul here tomorrow and tomorrow night. So that's great news. Into Wednesday as well. And then it moves into Paraná and parts of Mato Grosso do Sul Wednesday into Thursday. So that's kind of a cold front. And what happens here Thursday, Friday is this cold front, just like if you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're looking at a cold front in May, it doesn't make it to Florida. It stops along the Gulf Coast or in the Carolinas or something like that. That's what's happening here late this week. It's going to get what we call washed out in Brazil. Paraná northward, it's just scattered thunderstorms. So you look at the amount of precipitation between now and then, pretty darn good if you ask me, in a lot of Brazil. Not so good in most of Argentine croplands, but that was on the maps weeks ago for this time frame. A drier period after this heavy weekend rain. So this stuff coming up here, great news for Rio Grande do Sul, Paraná, Santa Catarina, Mato Grosso do Sul, Southern Goiás, Mato Grosso, just really good rain. Now, as you press into the basically the 5 to 10 day, if you will. Notice how rain comes back on this model, even Argentina. So that's where I go with my head is, okay, when's the next rain in Argentina? If that occurs, that keeps the risk down. Now the 10 to 15 day, the GFS goes full La Nina and pretty much moves all precipitation out of Argentina. We'll see how that goes. But the idea here of a pattern slowly but surely favoring La Nina tendency makes a lot of sense here. So let me start there. Our global angular momentum, negative. That's a La Nina flavor. Here's what that correlates to with precipitation rate in November and December. It's dry in Argentina and parts of Rio Grande do Sul, maybe parts of Paraná, but it's really good moisture in central Brazil. That's exactly what we're seeing now. Here's how precipitation rate compares to Nino, just La Nina, El Nino, the sea surface temperatures, not the global wind. See how it's a little bit stronger of a correlation? So all of this is to say that angular momentum has a similar correlation to the Nino region for a reason, because global wind is a indicator of whatever La Nina or El Nino is, right? So there should be some correlation there. Now, the MJO is just it's a nightmare right now. It's not a strong signal. Generally, it's phase 4 and 5. That's a dry one in Argentina in 4, but it's a wetter one in 5. So to me, you work off of this, you see that it's a drier signal. But again, with this type of evolution, where there's opportunities at least for moisture, we got to look at our data and see how that jives. So you notice here in the 5 to 10 day, there's some rainfall in Argentina. It's spotty, but it's there. Even the euro has at least some. That's that MJO influence. Now, the 10 to 15 day, the European goes drier. The GFS is hit or miss. Canadian is hit or miss. So it's just going to be a wait and see type deal here. But generally speaking, the later we get into November here, I think we're going to be dealing with drier conditions in parts of Argentina. And that's going to really be our focal point as we head into the Thanksgiving week and ultimately into December. And then obviously our main pollination windows here later December and into January, right? So we're going to continue to watch this. Right now, things are okay. We've seen plenty of rain. We got more rain coming this week. If you have questions, let me know. We'll be back with another video next Monday, and our reports will continue all week long.